Hi guys, it's Stephanie. It's Monday, August 16th. Yes, so here we go. It's another day here, and of course it's still raining out. And last night after I did my last video, I thought about the possibility of starting a small little mini series based on my past relationships, where I get to discuss relationships when I was male and relationships now that I've been living as female the past 15 to 20 years. The differences I've noticed, how things are not even or not equal. As we know, cisgender people have unlimited dating. They can break up with someone today, and if they wanted to, they can start dating tomorrow. Us, if we break up today with someone that we're dating, we may not find anybody for months or years if we were looking. But anyway, that's what I like to discuss in today's video, which can also become a little mini series to describe my past relationships, what happened there. Before I go on, I want to say thank you very much to my current subscribers who have been faithful and supportive the past few months. I thank you and I appreciate you. And if you're just visiting my channel, then if you find what you see resonates with you, please hit that subscribe key and hit that top bell so you get all notifications of my future uploads, and we'll come right back with a new upload. Thank you very much. Yeah, so here we go. As I was having lunch today, I thought about to myself, last night's video was actually very interesting. What if I decided to make some small episodes on the various relationships I've had with both men and women, where I lived as cisgender, and how I'm living today as a woman, a fully transitioned woman. I'm not holding nothing against people who are pre-op, but I'm just want to discuss my life as a post-op trans woman that's been in and out of relationships, and the different things I've noticed from when I lived as male and how I live now as woman, the differences in relationships and how they are different from one another. As we all know, cisgender people can be out of a relationship almost at will. If they're in a bad relationship, they'll simply try to work it out, or if it doesn't work out, then they'll call it quits. And within 6 months or so, they could be in another relationship. And in some case, it could be sooner than 6 months. That's what they call a rebound relationship. Trans people can't have a rebound relationship because the spacing between each relationship could be a year or more to not knowing when and if you'll meet someone again, because we are such a small minority group. I think last time I checked, there were like 1.6 million transgender people in America alone. But that's the transgender umbrella, which covers the term post-op or pre-op. They say that about 100,000 people undergo sex changes every single year. I'm not sure how many of those are within the 1.5 or 1.6 million people in the U.S. But anyways, there is a big difference when you're dating as a cisgender and transgender. Like I said, you don't know when you could find someone if you were to end a relationship. And within a 4-year period, I had about 5 or 6 relationships. That's very, very small scale compared to cisgender people. In a 6-year period, they can have as much as they want. We can't say that. We can't say that because we're such a small group, and people as a whole are very discriminating. It doesn't matter what classification, whether they're cisgender, whether they're gay people, whether they're heterosexual, it doesn't matter. We face a very discriminating society when it comes to us finding the right people for us. So therefore, we tend to hold on to what we have unless it's really, really bad. And within a 4-year period, I've had 5 or 6 supposed to be long-term relationships, but the longest they lasted was 7 to 8 months. Okay, so yeah. So if you look at the 7 to 8 months, that means that I had less than 1 a year, or just a little, maybe 1.3 relationships a year, which is very, very, very low. I'm not out there trying to find a relationship or trying to find someone. It's just that it's very hard because there's a rejection thing going on with us, you know, and some groups of people, I don't know if they see us as being genuine enough for them. So that's what the struggle is, trying to find the right people. I remember being on Match.com. In my last episode, I talked about meeting someone and how sometimes we have to deal with certain behaviors of men because some men are not strong enough to really be men and say, that's who I like, that's who I'm marrying, and that's that. If you don't like it, then get out of my life or whatever. But most men are not like that. You know, they have a secret desire to be with us, but they don't want to flaunt us. So they keep us in the shadows. And because sometimes we tend to be a little bit desperate, you know, because we know it's kind of difficult to find the right person. And sometimes there's a little lonely aspect to being trans, and there might be a small component as to having some degree of the number of suicidals in the trans communities, besides rejection and besides all the challenges that we have to face and all that stuff. trying hard to find a partner. But anyways, there was another gentleman that I met a few years ago as well, and he was a stockbroker. And he lived out west, not California, not like the firefighter, but he moved out to Florida also to begin his retirement, and he had gone through a divorce after being married for 20 years. And so I met him on Match, and his name was David. And we hit it off instantaneously. And he liked me very much on initial meeting. And we spent a lot of time on the phone and talking. And then we decided to date. After going to watching some movies and walks on the beach and sharing texts and email, he finally invited me to his home, and he introduced me to his roommate. And this one, I'm going to base this video on the impact that there is when you don't inform them that you're a transsexual woman. Okay, so this relationship lasted for about 2 months, and I never informed him that I was transsexual. So he loved going out to eat often, and because he was such a manly person that he felt that he had to pay all the time. If we go out to dinner, he had to pay. If we go watch a movie, he had to pay. But having lived as male for a long time, I felt a compulsion that I also should pay. And he was like, no, no, no. In my world, where I come from, the men gotta pay. I said, fine. You want to pay for the dinners? By all means. So on some days that we went out to eat, I would do the tipping. And David was very romantic. Wherever we went out, he loved holding hands. And so we held hands. He had no problems introducing me to his friends and his roommate. He had a really large home, and he was drawing on his retirement, but for additional income, he took on a couple of roommates, one of which was a traveling nurse, and the other one was a younger couple who was going to college. And I spent many nights at his home. I was do sleepovers, and again, he wanted me to entertain the idea that at some point in our relationship, I would be moving in with him. Well, just before the second month came around, David found out that he had prostate cancer. And so I tried to be a supportive girlfriend, and I went with him to do his physicals and his doctor visits and all that stuff. And to make a long story short, I was getting a little bit nervous towards the end of the relationship, because as a transsexual woman, even though we've had our bottom surgery, it's not 100% identical to a cisgender anatomy. Okay? Our bottom surgery when it's complete and healed, it looks very genuine to other cisgender women's private parts. When you get to the nitty-gritty of it, no matter how close it resembles, there's a difference. And if you're dating a woman, especially a nurse, and a man who always goes down on their women, they will know the difference. Okay? I'm not talking about on the small stuff like the scent of a woman, even though that's different. First of all, when we're having sex with men, we do, the body does lubricate itself on its own. But it's not the same as a cisgender woman, okay? The lubrication, when your body makes it, it doesn't come from the same place, okay? Because of the surgery and the process when it goes to create all the functions of the vagina. So we were getting to a point where we were getting kind of really hot. And I would be spending time over his house, and we'd be kissing and making out, and he's touching me down there. And of course, I'm getting very lubricant down here. And one night, I just let my guard up. And he went to town, okay? You know what I'm talking about? He went to town. And it went down as usual. No, he didn't say anything. We kissed, and we didn't have intercourse because I wanted to wait. I usually don't have intercourse with a man until I'm really, really comfortable to let him come inside of me. So he went to town, and we continued on our kissing and all that stuff, and then we stopped and we stayed up all night talking and chit-chat and all that stuff, and he never said anything. So to me, in my mind, I thought it was okay. So we would have many more nights this way. But one night he said to me, "You know, Stephanie, we've been dating now almost 2 months, and we haven't had sex yet. I can't hold on anymore like this. I want to see what you're like. I want to feel you." So I'm like, "I'm not comfortable yet. I want to wait." So the pressure got to be very overwhelming to me. And he kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And I'm trying to feel comfortable because, as you know, as a transsexual woman, we have to dilate often to keep our opening the deepest that they can be. You know, David wasn't a very big man. He was physically a big guy, but he wasn't a big man down there. And I didn't feel like performing oral sex on him. I may not be into that, okay? He's very oral. He was enjoying it. And I was happy that he never said anything, because if he did, I'd probably start getting really nervous. Because remember, at that point, I had not come out to him yet as a transsexual woman, so he had no idea. So, to make a long story short, I ended up breaking up with him because he was very demanding and very pushy. And not only that, but he wanted me to move into his home and live with him. There were days he would say, "I want you to be the queen bee of my home." I'm like, what do you mean? He'd be like, well, if you're not comfortable with our roommate, then you have to have a say in it, because maybe we want to be living alone here and enjoy our own privacy in the home. I want this home to be as much as your home as it is mine. That made me feel really good, because that was telling me that I had finally found the right person. Okay? So now that opens up the other question. I wasn't forthright with him. And this is why I talk about being forthright. Coming out to whoever you're dating, whether you're dating a man or a woman, don't go too long without telling him. So this guy was head over heels over me. And he was at that point where he wanted me to move in with him. I thought it was too early. I think a month and a half is too early to move in with someone. To just move out of my home and go live with him. And to make it worse, I hadn't told him about my past. And that was building up its own tension in my mind. And the fact that I'm now finding out that he has prostate cancer, and I hadn't introduced him to my family yet. His family lived just northwest of Florida, and it seemed like it was going too quickly, and I wasn't have time to prepare him for my past. So, to make a long story short, I was feeling too much under the weather and under the gun from his pressure, and I thought it best if I just left him. So I left him, and I wouldn't see him again either. But anyway, a month after I broke up with him, he called me and he said to me, there's something on my mind that I've been wanting to talk to you about, and I just don't know how to ask you this. And I'm on the phone, I'm like, well, what is it? When that time when we were really hot in bed and we were kissing and I went down on you? I go, yeah, what about it? He said, is there something you want to tell me? So I'm like, no, what is it? He goes, just tell me, okay? I said, tell you what? We're not together anymore. Because we weren't together anymore, I didn't feel like I needed to tell him. And I didn't. If we had remained together, eventually I would have at that time. In hindsight, today, I will not go over a month or a month and a half or whatever. I wouldn't go a month and a half without telling somebody, and I would not be in bed with them like I was if I had not told them. Okay? But the reason why I didn't tell him was because I was so scared that I would lose him. Okay? I thought that if I told him, he would probably break up with me. But I ended up breaking up with him over other issues. Okay? So, to make long story short, he had called me up and he was pressuring me to tell him something of what he didn't want to come out and say. So he got frustrated. He said, you know what? We're not together anyway, so just forget it. And he hung up. So you see, that's why if you're dating, if you're a trans woman and you're dating a man, don't go beyond 3 meetings before you tell him. Okay? I had just found the right person for me, who introduced me to his friends, brought me into his home, but I didn't have the guts to tell him that I was a trans person. Okay? That was wrong. Okay, I hurt him. He thought I broke up with him because I found out that he had prostate cancer. And that wasn't the reason. The reason why is because I felt pressured. He wanted me to move in too quick with him. We were going way too fast. And I didn't have time to process everything. But he might have been the perfect person for me. And I blew it. So I hope that this episode gives you deeper depth into what it would have been like if you didn't tell someone within a 3-meeting period, so you can know whether you have the right person for you or not. Okay, even though I was with David, I didn't know if he was the right person for me because I never got to the point where I told him that I am a transsexual woman. I never knew what his decision would have been after that. Instead, I ended up hurting him. We're still friends today, but I don't think we're the kind of friends that we hang around. He's gone on with his life. He's met someone else and he's happily settled down. And I'm happy in my life. And I'm just moving forward. And on the next episode, I'd like to talk to you about someone who I dated that was a CEO in a 500 company. He was a CEO of Verizon, and I dated him for 3 months. And he knew, but I broke up with him. So that'll be in the next episode. So anyways, I hope this video resonates with you and you took something from this one. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.